phenomenal day. It is presently Friday, April 24th, 2026. And I had an opening in my calendar this morning. So I got a few things done. And then I was like, you know what? I haven't done a weekend reading in a little while. So how about we do a good weekend energy forecast? Okay. So that's what we about to get into really quickly. Quick updates. I am going to make this public on my Oracle Empress um YouTube page, and I'll also be sharing it within the private groups that it makes sense for me to share it on, like on Facebook and whatnot. Also, like the OG Academy, for instance, and I might share it, um, the link on my actual Facebook pages. I'm undecided at the moment. It depends on what the reading is covering. But with that being said, if you visit the Empress Network at empressblack.com, I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe. I'm not asking for, anything crazy, just your name, email, um, how you like to receive your notifications, and that's it. And there's no fee to do that. But if you would be interested in getting a subscription plan, then I have a few different options available for that. You can learn more about it under the Earn Loyalty Rewards. All of the details can be found there. If you have any trouble, you can always use the chat box to reach out to me, and I can easily send you the link to the direct pages. Now, under Empress Tools, you can find that within our home tab, listed under the home tab. I have all of our, thus far, we have one more next Monday, but our April weekly energy forecast. So if you missed them for whatever reason, we have the replays available. You kind of get an idea of what was going on, the things that, we were addressing or looking at, or just get the information, potentially the inspiration, the affirmations. It's all there. So again, that's the Oracle Empress catalog within our Empress tools. It's kind of like headlining. You're also able to find within that page, um, some merchandise, some services if you would like to book a personal reading, the options and how to go about doing that, and our audiobook club collection. Now, if you visit the book and shop tab, we have, you know, two entrances. One is for subscribers, where you have access to more. Um, And then we have one for just the public, whoever visits the site and wants general information and wants to see my portfolio of my work. I have like video clips of the services that I've offered. Um, and the booking systems that I use, the differences between the ones that are available, and selecting which one would make most sense for you and your needs. Um, Headlining is that page is the Empress Archives and Updates. Now, for the subscribers of the site, you'll also have access to our May 2026 all 12 zodiac sign energy forecast. So that can be found there. It is in two parts. I believe the first part is what, Aries through Sagittarius. And then the second part, I had to take a break and come back. Pardon me, was from Capricorn to Pisces. So I have timestamps in the description box, and the favorite readers that I highlighted, I have their YouTube pages also listed in the description. In all the videos, you can always find the master key. that is, like a remote, but that's what it was formerly called a few years back. But it is the tool that we use to be able to quickly and easily access different, pages or links or whatever within the system. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get right into this. Um, I did read from the Isis Oracle, our crowning energy. We opened up for May 2026, um, the all 12 zodiac signs. Our message was stay true and be in your power. Okay. And that is Osiris and Isis, Lord and Lady of Divine Authority. So I feel like sometimes, things are like a process, there's stages and process to certain things. Like when I do these readings, I'll go on about my day or my days or whatever, and then something happens or shows up. It's like, oh, okay, that's what that was. Okay, cool. And then I'll come back and revisit something, and I'll be like, okay, now it's time for that. So with that being said, I didn't read the incantation um when I did that, but I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to tell you what the incantation for this card is about. Okay. So the incantation of the crook and flail, you can use this incantation to break any vow of this or another lifetime. You will sense those past vows as an inner block or drain that can keep you captive to a relationship or relationship pattern that you know does not serve you, but you cannot seem to break through, as though you are somehow tied to it beyond your conscious will. You can also say it at any time you feel confused, you are seeking permission for how you live your life, or that you need to call your power back. Okay. So there's most definitely been a consistency of calling back your power that came out in this week's energy forecast for April 20th, 2026. So I encourage you to check that out. There was a strong message there. And, I'm feeling like I have to do this weekend energy forecast for that reason. Okay. So crook and flail, flail and crook. I now declare with intention clear, I am a sovereign being of love divine. I call back my power full and complete. I break all vows of giving away my authority. I release the lie that my authority may be taken from me. I surrender only to the light of my divine essence, of my own divine essence. Crook and flail, flail and crook. I now declare with intention clear, I am a sovereign being of love divine. Okay. So this ain't for everybody, but it's who it's for. Okay. So um, what I did do was something a little different than usual. Um, there's when anybody that make YouTube videos or content, there's where you can add like tags or like keywords or whatever when you're setting up your video. So I used a collection of words that have never come to me before to use, and I'm interested to see what kind of response I get. It was most definitely um, finances, money, investments, um, production, building, that type of high vibrational frequency of thought, millionaire, billionaire mindset, just, I don't know. A lot of my stuff has been flagged, on different platforms, for whatever reason, but I'm looking to connect with the right people and kind of like separate myself from the low vibrational energies that feel the need to want to drag me to the bottom of the barrel. You know, the crabs type of like, I'm over it, tapped out. Okay. Thank you, Divine Source, for clear and direct messages, insight, and guidance. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I trust, hope, and pray that wherever you are in the world, that you are well, mind, body, and spirit. We are starting out with our Soul Cards 2 deck. Okay. To get our overall energy. Okay. Okay. I'm seeing some mountains, peaks, and valleys here. I don't know if that would be considered the moon, but it looks like it's whatever it is, a star in the sky that is howling, that is echoing, something, or there's like a portal of some sort of opening of a portal. Um, what is this? April, as we were transitioning from the end of Aries into Taurus season, there were a significance of the planetary action that was going on, the signs that were present in, excuse me, the planets that were present in Aries, like I know Saturn was one of them, Mars, I believe Mercury might have been one of them, but it was a few of the what I call heavy hitters, and so the energy was most definitely heavy. I felt it. I felt like pretty much drained all week. Um, where usually I don't have that much trouble like getting up and getting out of bed in the morning. Once I don't even usually need an alarm clock in most cases, but I needed multiple alarms this week. Like yeah, I was feeling all of it. So with a portal being open, like this, I'm getting there's a great deal of shadows or darkness that's feeling like swallowed up, maybe. I know it's been a great deal of spiritual warfare, and I know that I haven't been experiencing it by myself, from just paying attention and observing other spiritualists and people that work, in the spiritual community doing different things. Um, I've heard the same thing consistently. It's affecting people differently, and um, different people are sharing the different tools and ways that they go about managing, the energy. But nonetheless, there's a great deal of needing to cleanse and protect your energy and practicing spiritual hygiene for sure. If there's something that you normally do, there may be things that may be needed to be added to your routine. Um, to just make sure that you're not having any like dark entities or dark energies just not wanting to get up off of you. I don't know how else to say it. I'm trying to find a appropriate way. I'm trying to be mindful of my articulation, making it sure that it's, appropriate, I guess. But yeah, Some people are definite, or some energies, I'll say, um, are losing access and they're recognizing it. Okay. They're drowning in despair and grief or whatever type of darkness that they may have projected towards you. Okay. Yes, this is most definitely the opposite of that energy right here that just came out of. I love this deck and just how it speaks. It's amazing. This is definitely someone gaining confirmation here of them regaining their power. Okay, so the yellow is representative of our solar plexus chakra, which is the self esteem, the self confidence, the willpower, the inner strength, the determination. Someone, as they have done the cleansing and purification work to free themselves of the negativity, the attempted humiliation rituals, um, the thievery, the energy vampires, people who have wanted to steal things from them, but also steal their energy. Um, just whatever work that you've done to protect yourself, it's paying off. And, if you want to keep getting those results, you might want to continue doing those things to support, you maintaining healthy vibrational energy, aligning with the light for sure. Now, the blue is saying that you may not really be verbalizing or communicating or talking about your experience. You're probably at this time just processing it. That little spiral looking thing, the blue spiral that's in the second card right here, that looks like it may be in the area of the third eye. I'm getting here that you're processing your thoughts and emotions before you express them. Okay. With the blue underneath the face, the image of the face also is showing that you will, if you have not yet already started um, communicating or expressing yourself. That's the third eye. I mean, excuse me, that's the throat chakra. Okay. So you will share your experience, whether that's you as a speaker, a teacher, something in communications. You do something within communications. Um, you could even be some sort of artist, like a singer or rapper, or something like that. Where you may have had people trying to block you from speaking and expressing yourself. That could also be what we're seeing here in this darker energy, where the darker entities and energies wanted to keep you from speaking your truth. That energy has been returned, where it's just like you've outsmarted them in some way. And the face in the second one also looks more peaceful and relaxed. So you realigned with, the truth of who you are, and you're possibly taking more time to meditate, to process everything that you've been going through, and, potentially journaling and writing it down, keeping things in a safe space for when you're ready to share them. Okay. I noticed the mountains and valleys in both images. So, pardon me. I'm getting potentially like astral traveling. That could be something that you do either intentionally or unintentionally, like when you're resting. Um, you might visit different places and awaken with new ideas, I'm hearing. Okay. On the bottom of the deck here, this looks like someone is potentially creating something with their hands, or I'm hearing you can't tell really what it is. You could just see, you know, a figure looking down towards their hands, and there's something there. And it's something light, of like a lighter compared to the other colors in the card. So this could be transmuting energy. Let me I'm seeing the eyes are closed in all three of these images. Okay. And they're looking down. So well, no, one is kind of the first one is looking up, the second one is like looking ahead, and the third one is looking down. So I don't know why I'm hearing, I know it's not really in this message, but the three, you see it in different forms. I've seen it in like monkeys or whatever. Hear, see, and say no evil or whatever. And you have like different statues or whatever. We had some as children in the house. I've seen them as like figures of men where they'll have like their eyes covered to say see no evil, or um their mouth like say no speak no evil, and their ears is like to hear no evil type of thing. For some reason I'm getting that here as a way to protect, you know, your personal power as you regain it. Okay. So yeah, as you regain your personal power, you need to know how to transmute the negative energy and recognize it when it shows its face again, if it tries to, because it more than likely will. Okay. Um, as long as you're a light being, you know, evil is going to try to stop you, attack you, just bring out the worst in you, and, you know, use different people and different organizations and entities to, you know, do the adversary's work. So making sure that you are equipped, you are skilled enough in your practices and your routines to protect yourself is essential, is what I'm getting here with these soul cards. The soul lesson, transmuting energy. So once you recognize, you know, what you've gone through, the culprits behind what you've been going through, and making a decision. Yeah, and look at that. Here's the three faces again. Okay. So we got three faces here. We got three faces on the bottom of the deck with, again, people projecting, you know, their negativity, their toxicity, their insecurities, their, you know, low vibrational lacking self-belief and all that kind of craziness. That's that energy. And wearing masks to try to appear one way, maybe in the public or to other people, but the truth of who they are behind closed doors when they're by themselves is totally different. And they're no longer able to hide that and use you as a hide hide behind you if that's what they were trying to do is what I'm getting. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting. All right, let's move along. I want to see what our chakra alignment message is really quick. Chakra alignment message. So you may be developing some new skill, maybe going back to school, getting some additional training, or something like that, where you're able to use your time and energy in a way that it's going to support your healing process. Because the reality is, when we look at healing, a lot of times we could be healing from in many different ways. It could be mentally, dealing with mental health issues from chaos, drama, just things that are in many cases out of our control, but they're in our environments, they're in our relationships, they're in our connections, and they have an impact on how we think and show up, our ability to trust, you know, that falls between mental and emotional. But emotional healing is another thing that a lot of people have to deal with as far as, you know, having relationships. I didn't even realize this was on the bottom of the deck again. That's crazy. I just happened to look and it's like, okay, this is the same energy that I was talking about that came out for our forecast for this week. This is the personal power, that solar plexus chakra. Again, I love it. But with that being said, um, the emotional element of it, then if you're an adult, someone who has financial obligations and responsibilities, a lot of times these different things that occur can be distracting, consuming, and draining. So they can have a harmful effect on, your income, your ability to earn, especially if it causes health problems. And we know that health is wealth in the aspect of if you can't work because you're not feeling good, you're sick, you know, you're in just bad shape. For what, however that shows up. We have um medical files or books that can list a million different diseases and illnesses. So pick one type of thing. But with that being said, those are the things that cause us to, suffer and lose income, not be able to earn. So then there's financial healing. That's one that it's a real one. Ask me how I know. Okay. So it's deeper than just the physical body healing, that's a major part of it. But within the physical body and external of the physical body, okay, there's different, parts of life. I'm gonna go ahead and take this out. There's different parts of life and existence that, you know, when they're unhealthy, healing is needed for restoration, okay, for regeneration, recuperation, and then learning how to protect yourself where you're not impacted and affected in those ways moving forward, is important. So when we're looking at personal power, that's what we're looking at, you know, being willing to fight for yourself, but fight to protect your mind, body, and soul. I'm also getting that here for sure. Mind, body, and soul. All right, we have dreams, forgiveness, and listening. I love it. I love the synchronicities with life purpose on the bottom of the deck. Okay. So the light at the end of the tunnel, there's so much synchronicities here. Let's look at the bottom of the deck here. So you have a passageway, a doorway with the light right there. Purpose. That's number 22. We know that's 1111 also. A stairway. We said the throat chakra. Okay. That came up in the beginning. Okay. I mentioned the restoring and working on balancing your throat chakra so that you're able to speak your truth once you become clear as to what your truth is. Okay. And then in the soul card here, you have the passageway, to the soul where you have, three masked figures potentially gang stalking and watching you and, possibly trying to copycat, imitate, and be you, you know, but they're recognizing that, the truth of who you are, what you do is in alignment with your higher calling, with what God put you here to do. So it may not be as it's not as easy as they thought it would be, you know, to waste their time so foolishly trying to be you versus being themselves. All right. So with dreams here, let me see how we want to look at this. We got dreams, forgiveness, and listening. Okay. That's how they came up. Now again, with these two, we saw portals. You see the spiral portal in all three of these cards here. Okay. Again, with listening, this is number 24, listening. And I specifically said that when I saw this one here with the blue in the spiral and around crowning, I mean, it's not crown, but around the face near the throat region, that this was someone processing their thoughts and emotions, their experiences, gain greater wisdom and insight and instruction from on high. So this is just confirmation of that. Okay. Listening to, you know, the divine, God, your angels and ancestors, those who are wiser than you. They have the truth, the knowledge that you need to be able to make sound, healthy, practical, you know, decisions. So that's confirmation there. All right, then we have dreams and forgiveness. Okay. If we look at this card here with the imagery, with the looking down and looking at something, there's a consistency there. So someone may have received some sort of revelations of the truth through their dreams, through meditations, and they're unable to deny, who or what may have played a part in trying to cause them harm, cause them despair, you know, cause them to be in situations where they feel humiliated or embarrassed or, trying to block them from growing and evolving and becoming who and what God created and designed them to be. Seeing that and having to manage that respectfully and responsibly is a task. Okay. The first part of the task is taking, your power back, is forgiving those who try to trespass against you, forgiving yourself for allowing it for however long you allowed it, you know, learning from it, you know, not harming yourself or anyone else in the process of you healing. Like all of these are components to regaining your confidence, your boosting your self-esteem, aligning with your willpower, all of that. Okay. Let me look at our soul's journey lessons because these are definitely soul messages. We get into the root, the core, the foundation. Okay. Even though we don't have any red here, which represents the base and the root chakra, you know, we are we had the I said the Kundalini rising energy showed up as far as holistic health and healing the other day. I believe that may have been for this week's energy also. It was, as a matter of fact. So now, you know, we're looking at more just than our stability and foundation. We're looking at all the other elements of our existence, making sense of that so that we can become balanced, whole, complete individuals with the right self-care, self-love, self-respect, and we're able to, what is a self-esteem? How many times did I say that in this reading with the yellow? Okay, so that we're able to not be envious and jealous and, you know, improperly using our God-given strengths, talents, and, those types of things. Okay. So I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. That is our affirmation for self esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. Everything I was just saying. When we're feeling better about ourselves, we're able to be of better service, okay, with our life purpose, whatever that may be. If we don't know what that is, we have a better chance of becoming clear on what that is because we're channeling our energy. We're, more focused on the things that we need to be focused on that matter, that makes sense. Jesus. Okay, so we got another yellow card here, a service, another word that I just definitely mentioned, okay, with doubt. The affirmation for doubt is I release the need to know all the answers. And with service, the affirmation is I feel good when I can help others. So one thing that I've learned through life, my family, had to try to, you know, beat me over the head with this. It's a good thing to want to help others and be there for others, but you have to make sure that you're good first or whatever, that martyr type of Piscean Christ like energy. If you know, you know. If you know, if you know, you know. Okay. But with that type of energy, just making sure that, okay, give, share, help, but make sure that you are secure, you're good. And I think that the issue is for me personally, where I started out, I feel like being in a better position than most of my relationships or peers type of thing. So with that, I would just help and give and sow and all that type of stuff with no issues. But then when life happened and things changed, and I recognized that, you know, a lot of times I was being used and taken advantage of because of that ability that I had to be able to help others and not look for nothing in return. You know, I found myself in a situation or in situations where I needed what I had been given out, and there was nobody to be able to give that to me, type of thing. So with that, it's been some years of overcoming this and getting a solid understanding of, again, making sure that my cup is full before I'm sitting here pouring out of it and giving to people in situations that I just can't, like it type of stuff. Even me sitting here, translating, transmuting, and articulating, and these messages, they for me too. I'm always learning, growing, and evolving. So with that being said, it resonates. Because one thing I learned about the whole giving and receiving, or giving and taking, you know, exchange, the dynamics of that is, some people genuinely just only know how to take. They don't know how to give, or, have like a fair balance exchange. And it's your responsibility to know the difference, to be able to teach people. You may not know how to do that with other people, but when it comes to me, you're going to learn. Okay. If you want to maintain a connection of any kind, that's important, because with a taker, they're going to take, you know, as long as you giving, 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 and they don't care if you got enough money to make sure that your responsibilities are taken care of, you can eat and all that type of stuff. They gonna call and say, "Do you need anything?" They gonna just call when they need something. Okay, real talk. All right. Anything else? All right. So our affirmations again are self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. The doubt is I release the need to know all the answers, and for service, I feel good when I can help others. All right. Okay. And on the bottom of the deck is blame, another yellow. I accept responsibility for my well-being. There we go. Taking accountability. We're not blaming, a taker for being a taker, or a user for being a user. We taking responsibility and saying, okay, well, I need to love myself enough to be able to say, enough is enough. The bank is closed. Okay. The whatever, my time, I'm not available. My energy is not accessible. Whatever it is, okay? That's what we're doing. All right. Let's see what this what's the message he should Oracle was talking about real quick. Also, with dreams and life purpose, I'm hearing that you may be doing some forgiveness work on yourself and within yourself in regards to putting your dreams and goals on the back burner to whatever you know you've been putting on the back burner for. You've been distracted maybe with relationships of any kind. It could be family, friends, colleagues, people in the community, in your communities that you're a part of, or whatever, however, that have been wanting and requiring so much from you that you have not been prioritizing, you know, what is truly of importance to you and achieving the goals that you set for yourself. So I'm also getting here with the forgiveness, looking at the dreams or facing the dreams. And then behind that, with listening, you know, you're constantly hearing that calling, that reminder from the divine, like, okay, I got something I need you to be doing. And you letting these crazy, silly humans, keep you consumed, distracted, frustrated, drained, and tired. Like, get it together. All right. So we have divine truth, Christ consciousness, number 4, to confirm what I just said. If that's not confirmation, I don't know what is. Okay. Definitely seeking more balance. Lord, I cannot make this stuff up. Like it, I didn't even see the card yet. And what does that say? Balancer, grounding, number 11. 411 might be significant. Matter of fact, I want to see what that angel number looks like. And then we have Divine Temple Akashic Records, number 1 on the bottom of the deck. So 4111. Let me let me see something real quick. Check these angel numbers to see what this message is. We have the 4111 4111 angel number is a powerful message from the divine realm urging you to stay grounded while pursuing your soul's purpose. It combines the stability of the number 4 with one triple amplified energy of the number 1, emphasizing new beginnings, intuition, and proactive creation of your reality. Key meanings of 4111: heightened intuition and purpose. You are receiving strong spiritual insights guiding you towards your life's true calling. Focus on foundations. The 4 ensures that while you chase dreams, you are creating practical, stable plans to make them last. Actionable manifestations. The 111 sequence signifies that your thoughts are manifesting into reality rapidly. Maintain a positive and focused mindset. Divine support. You are being supported by your angels to step into a leadership role in your own life, moving past fears and limitations. Okay, what to do when you see 4111? Stay grounded while exploring spiritual growth. Ensure you maintain practical balance in your daily life. Watch your thoughts. Your thoughts are turning into reality, so keep them focused on what you want, not what you fear. And trust your intuition. Your intuition is heightened now. Trust the inner nudges guiding your decision. In summary, 4111 is a call to take proactive, structured action toward your dreams while trusting in your divine guidance and maintaining a positive mental state. I just love that kind of confirmation. Okay. Absolutely love it. Because go ahead and seal what I just said. All right. With that, let me see. Dark goddess power. What I'm gonna get here. So with that Akashic record, divine temple, and divine truth coming up, I'm also hearing with the listening, that being clear minded and clearing your energy, staying focused is important so that, as this wisdom, as this truth comes to you and through you, that you're processing it and grounding it so that if sharing and are sharing, if you're a teacher or guide or something of the sort, that you are properly articulating, everything that you are to share because you understand it. That's what the grounding is, that process. Okay, staying grounded. All right, we have 12 Ellen of the ways with patterns. Okay, so that could be again with the habits, like making sure that you are taking the time to um do the things that are going to help you to stay grounded, keep your energy clean with good spiritual hygiene. Good spiritual hygiene is 2:15 on the time. I just looked at the clock. Um, all right, we got and 23. This 23 has been coming up so much, and I tell you, every time I see it, Michael Jordan. You know, this almost making me feel like I need to go get a pair of Jordans or something. I had one pair of Jordans in my life, and I was out on my motorcycle riding with them, and I got caught in some real bad rain or whatever, and it like soaked and ruined my Jordans, and I just never bought another pair because I never went into like spending that crazy amount of money for sneakers for myself or whatever. But that came to mind just now with this 23 keeps showing up. But anyway, iris communication. Okay. So I'm also getting here that the eyes are the windows to the soul. So even when, people are not necessarily verbally, um, and the soul cards, all the eyes were closed. Okay. So anywhere that we've seen images thus far, except for in this goddess power deck, the eyes have been closed. Even here, with the masked energies, eyes closed, and all three of those faces. So people don't want you to look into their eyes because they recognize that you are able to see the truth, you know, their soul, their intentions, and their motives that may not be right. Okay. So with the patterns and communication, I'm seeing 1223, 123, 1223. Okay. Paying attention to the things that people may be trying to, I'm hearing, impose on you. So you may notice that, people are trying to maybe convince you of something or force you into believing something. I'm hearing, and they feel like maybe repeating it or repetition or something like that could be their strategy. I don't know. but I'm definitely hearing it's something with like indirect communication, maybe subliminal messages, or just being mindful of that, you know. It could be something positive and it could be negative. Okay, we got three cards. We have stillness, forgiveness again, and death and magic. Okay, so we got 52, 7, and 38. That is 7, 7, 11. 77, 11. Okay, so with the 77 here, with stillness and forgiveness, um, again, this is that potentially light and dark energy. And then with death and magic, Meridian, you know, this is someone who wants to bring an end to, you know, you potentially, your your confidence, you know, your mindset, you know, your mission. With that 11, someone wants to stop you from being of service and doing what it is that you're here to do. A jealous, a very jealous energy. Jealous, hateful, envious. Potentially, I'm hearing greed, where they want to potentially steal your position or your role, or some craziness. I'm picking up. I don't like it. I don't like it. So again, being mindful, because there's definitely some sort of mental manipulation that's going on here. And what is going to help free you, being that forgiveness has come up twice. A lot of times with forgiveness, it's always talked about in the sense of, you know, forgiving the trespasser, the other person, you know, someone else. But what I'm getting here is to truly take your power back, both forgiving whoever, wherever, or whatever. Forgiving doesn't mean I still want to have a connection with you. We're going to be friends. You can forgive and cut the cord. I've done that here recently. Okay. I forgive you. I saw everything that you were doing. I watched you to see if you were serious about what you were doing, trying to disrespect me and humiliate me. And to the degree in which you were doing it to my face only made me question how much it was being done behind my back. So, with that type of stuff, I don't want to be a heart as light as a feather. My yacht, okay? Heart as light as a feather. That's important for me. So, I'm freeing myself of the negativity, the hurt, the low vibrational frequency. I forgive you, but we're not friends. I don't like you. I'm not going to pretend that I do. Like, no, especially with no half ass fake apologies. No. So that's me. But like I said, the second part of the forgiveness, I forgave the person or the people, but I also, more importantly, forgave myself for absorbing absorbing that energy for as long as I did, where I allowed it to drain me, to distract me, to upset me, to and although I didn't retaliate or react or give them what they were looking for, you know, um I still had moments where I caught myself. I'm not the type of person that does a whole lot of venting and complaining. You know, I'm used to people doing that to me, or, you know, coming to me with that. But I don't even like to do it. That's why I try to refrain from it. So when I find myself in position where that's what I'm doing, I'm just like, okay, something got to give. This ain't even me. And that's what happened. So I'm sitting here draining, you know, my closest, because I don't have a lot of them. My closest loved ones are people that I can trust, to share things with it. I know it ain't gonna end up nowhere else or whatever. And while I'm venting about it, I'm sitting here listening to myself like, are you serious? Like, Marissa, like, you know better. So, with that being said, forgiving myself for enduring it like I don't have other options, like I haven't always had options, type of stuff. So, taking accountability, responsibility, and taking your power back, that's part of it. And that's showing up real heavy. And I took the time because forgiveness came out twice. Let me mess up my little to show you here. Forgiveness twice. As you do that heart healing, it's going to support you and feeling lighter. You know, sometimes when I do like spiritual work for and within myself, I don't do it for other people. I may give you the information and, guide you to the resources to do it for yourself, but I'm not into that. I do it for myself or whatever, via like prayer, meditation, incantations. Um, I don't even go too far. I might light a white candle, for purification, restoration, and healing, or a black candle for protection or something like that. But outside of that, I ain't getting too deep in it. But what I'm saying is, even with that, I noticed that if I don't use any tools, I'm just using, my mental and emotional, energy to transmute energy. Um, it may take, I noticed maybe like a 72-hour window of time, like maybe 2 to 3 days. So if I use tools, it might speed it up potentially. Um, but with that being said, depending on how much damage has been done, for how long, how many parties are involved, how long something has, like I said, has been going on, it may take some time and require, some patience and consistency. You might have to do the exercises multiple times to get the results and to free your energy, cleanse your energy, to restore your energy the way that you want it to. Okay. And look at that. We have 13 new beginnings on the bottom of the deck. Now, what we love about that is the fact that with the death and magic was the last card that came out, and then we have new beginnings. We know that 13 in most tarot is the death card. Okay, so with that, you know, we know that the death card, it could, yes, be an ending, you know, a ending, but it could also be a rebirth and a new beginning. And that's how we like to look at it here. I don't like to be projecting that type of stuff. That's not my lane. I'm not into the dark and the death magic type of stuff. I'm full with that. So, with that being said, we look at it from a high vibrational standpoint. Transformation, transforming your mind, evolving your mind, because we know, and I'm gonna keep saying it, as a man or woman thinketh, so is he or she. As we evolve and grow mentally, we look at it like the butterfly example. The caterpillar crawling on the ground, up a tree, into a cocoon, from the cocoon to a butterfly. That's a transformation cycle, evolution. That's how we look at the death and the rebirth. So with the new beginning is, the death of the caterpillar into the magic of the cocoon process. And then the new beginning is breaking out and becoming a butterfly. That's how we're looking at this energy from a high vibrational standpoint. Okay. All right. I must have some new students coming through with the way that I'm being guided to break this down and articulate this energy. So really quick, I'm gonna close this out with let me use the tarot. So with the we're gonna close this out with our what's this deck called? Look at that, the magician on the bottom of the deck. That's so funny. That is so funny. Um Modern Witch Tarot. This is the Modern Witch Tarot deck. We're gonna close out with this and our Angels of Abundance. I want to get a real good shuffle because I use this deck to do our all 12 zodiac signs to clarify our career and finance messages. So I'm going to use it here because we looked at all these soul lessons, but now we want to get some practical insight and guidance to close this out. I'm also getting here with the symbols, with the stillness, and Yukiana and Morigian with the death and magic. They both have symbols on their third eye on their forehead. Um, one is like a crescent moon, and then the other one has, I don't know if that's like a Chinese or Japanese symbol because Yukiana sounds like a Japanese name to me. But she might be like an ice queen, ice goddess. So then Iris has a jewel. Iris and Brandwing with communication and forgiveness. They have like head jewelry, headpieces that also drip down the center of their forehead. So, you know, I'm hearing, protecting your crown, protecting your third eye is important in this energy for sure with the devil on the bottom of the deck. And look how quickly we transmuted that to the sun. Just like that, one shuffle. So what that's telling me is, you know, you've gone through this or whatever this is, you've gone through it long enough. You've learned the lessons that you needed to learn, gain the knowledge, wisdom, experience, and it has equipped you with everything that you need to be able to, here we go again, showing up real heavy. So whatever transmuting of energy work that has been done to address and stop, you know, I really don't like reading this type of energy. I really don't. I really don't. But it's the reality of the world that we live in, unfortunately. With endings or new beginnings. let's get some more information here before I even have to speak on this. There's definitely be ending to some patterns because we have Ellen of the Ways with patterns, and then that was clarified by the death card, the first card that came out. Okay, so there are some people that are going to be falling to their knees. They wanted it. They wanted you in this energy. They wanted you. Ten of Swords. All them swords in your back, in your body. It's all coming to light here. You see me shuffle the cards. I'm hearing there could have been a bunch of gossip and slander, mental manipulation, you know, probably tried to poison you. Um, there's one sword going through the neck, so they definitely tried to, shut down your throat chakra, block you from speaking, expressing yourself. They wanted you to feel physical pain, you know, mental and emotional pain because she got a sword going through her chest too. They just wanted you to be like really bad off, finished. And with the Ten of Swords, I'm getting this is more than one person. So whether this was some sort of group collaborating, working together to work against you, or if I'm getting that this Grim Reaper here was the lead, well, a leader of some sort that may have you know had some minions. These 10 swords could represent up to 10 people that they had maybe working for them, working with them to end you, point blank, period. No rebirth. But we have the Hierophant here. And the way the divine is set up is like, we ain't doing that. The same way the enemy, the adversary, has minions and demons. The devil has demons. God has angels, that have not fallen, that are not fallen angels. And I'm getting here, these are potentially earth angels that have been working for the divine on your behalf as to why you're still here able to get this message. Okay. We got the Three of Pentacles here. So there could have been some sort of judgment. Pardon me. Someone may have judged, or misjudged what it was that you may have done for a living. With the Three of Pentacles, it could have been something that may have not been highly respected. It could have been something that didn't make a lot of money, um, or it didn't come with like any significant titles or degrees or anything. So people didn't take you serious, type of thing. Um, It could be anything from like an artist and I'm gonna use a personal story with this actually because, I've shared this on different occasions, but like when I was a little girl, I told my grandfather asked me, what did I want to be when I grew up? I love and respect my grandfather, appreciate him for everything that he taught me. But the reality is he had an old school way of thinking at this time, and this is what he said to me. So I told him I wanted to be a hairdresser and a boss. And he told me that a hairdresser wasn't a real career. Now, when it was time for me to get to that age in high school where I had to look at college or trade school and, you know, future stuff. Um, you know, I started out with a program. I wanted to join a program for cosmetology. And I think I could have gone that route and pursued that and had a different experience. But that subconscious message, you know, could have also had an impact as to why I ended up just going to community college and started out with nursing, taking my prerequisite classes and deciding, this shit ain't for me, especially if I'm paying out of pocket because I was working too. I love you, Grandpa. I don't want to disappoint you, but I'm not about to sit here and play these games either. So he thought that I would be a good nurse or a lawyer, and he was looking at it more from a stability, you know, um, financial earning standpoint. I understand that. I respect that looking back now. But I also recognize that, where my life could have been different. I don't have any regrets or whatever, but my income earning potential, my stability, a lot of things could have been different if I would have went ahead and followed my dreams earlier versus having the setbacks that I had, you know, for that reason or whatever. But with that, a lot of people, especially as a natural hair care specialist, because even in the industry, once I got into the industry, I decided I didn't want to work with chemicals or whatever because of my beliefs and my understanding of certain things. So I was selective with the services that I offered. And I remember the first time that I worked in like a salon suite barbershop. The stylist that I worked with, she was like considered a master cosmetologist, and she did like perms and relaxers and stuff like that. And I remember breathing in those chemicals and fumes, and I would just like get nauseous almost because I was just like, oh, like I didn't even want to work in this small space with her with these chemicals that I didn't use or I didn't like. Um, but she would criticize me and judge me. Was like, girl, you ain't gonna make no money if you don't do these chemicals. Like, she would say stuff like that to me. And you spend too much time on that nappy hair, talking about natural hair or whatever, you ain't gonna never make no money. But what ended up happening was, we working real close to each other. Her clients was coming in and seeing my clients having more and healthier looking hair, and I was taking care of it without chemicals, and started becoming interested in what I had going on in my chair, and then wanted to try and sneak when she wasn't looking to try to book with me type of thing. But this was the same stylist that was telling me that. So things got a little messy and that ended up not working out too long. But I've experienced stuff like that throughout my career, whether it was my peers or somebody in my industry. She was older than me, um, pretty significant, at least like a decade or so older than me. But at that time, but whether it's like that or just people, like you could see somebody like when I worked in fast food growing up when I was in high school. I remember there would be people that would come in there. Some people would act like they had sense and have manners and have respect and didn't look down on me or whatever because I'm a cashier at a restaurant. I always look older for my age too. So when I was like 16, I could have easily gone for almost 20, something like that. Like, because I always had older guys that try to holler at me and was interested too. Um, But with that being said, like I remember like there'll be senior citizens and older people that were just like rude and disrespectful and like just because this is where I work doesn't mean that I don't deserve respect type of thing. So I'm getting that here with the Three of Pentacles. Um that may have been something that you could have dealt with or could be dealing with. Okay, I just wanted to share those stories in depth because they're real life scenarios that somebody can relate to. And then also, look at that. We got the Queen of Pentacles that flew out. We love that energy. So we go from the Three of Pentacles to the Queen of Pentacles. So the message here is it's time for you, and that came out with that blue, that ice cold potentially Queen of Swords energy. Okay. So with the stillness, as you took that time out to pause, reflect, do the mental healing and restoration work, pardon me, um, you set yourself up to have a good inner healthy foundation to be practical in your decision making and your moves forward, where you're now fertile, where you're now grounded and stable. And you just the Queen of Pentacles, just beautiful, with your pinnacle sitting in your lap. Your hair is beautiful and draped, dripping. Your crown is, crowning. Your little white bunny is letting, just making it clear that you're very fertile, whether that is fertile in your um life force energy and your ability to produce and create life, or or fertile in your creations, your creativity. You're able to um produce. All right, we got the Six of Swords here. So this came out to with the forgiveness and the death magic. Okay. So this is where someone is relocating and moving away. You may have or had to let go of, some things and take the bare minimum with you. I've gone through this too. Okay. Where, I invested a lot of money in my career on my tools, my kits, you know, just the things that I needed to do my work. And when I had to get up and move, you know, I wasn't able to take a third of, like, I don't, not even a quarter of the stuff that I had with me, whether it was furniture, whatever. These were things that I purchased with my money, not with credit, like with my own hard earned income, investing back into my business. So bootstrapping. Okay. So just leaving it all behind with the mindset of, okay, I have to start over. The Six of Swords is the mindset of having to start over. And you see this little rowboat, a lot ain't gonna fit on that. Okay. So having to leave some things behind, maybe with some people behind, if that's what you got to do to get the healthy, fresh start, that you need, then so be it. Okay. Especially if you're somewhere where you're not supported, where you're facing constant obstacles. Shoot, child, you're facing having to deal with people trying to block you from this. The Ten of Pentacles. They see it. They probably saw it before you saw it on yourself. Okay. Ultimate, ultimate. This is legacy wealth, you know, financial stability, just everything you need to do whatever it is that you have a desire to do. So with that death card coming out in the beginning with the pattern, that is most definitely um what I have spoken about in a long time. The experience black transformations, the mindset behind that, you know, using the tools and resources that we need to help us break, the self-imposed limitations, the things that aren't in support of us being our best, doing our best, having our best, freeing ourselves from out of that, whether it's the things that are internally, the things that people said to us and told us that we replan our minds, that cause us to have blockages in our heart space, where we're not trusting and we're not loving, and that type of stuff. Then there's also the things that are external, where people see your potential, your greatness, and they feel inferior or intimidated by it. And they want to stop you and block you and cause you pain and agony and sadness and despair and embarrassment and everything else that you could think of. God said, I need you to take back your personal power. I need you to remember who you are. I need you to be very clear and understand on what I created you to do, what I designed you to do, and be and become so that you can have this, okay? Because this is your life purpose here. This is your what's that? Look at that with the seven of pentacles on the bottom of the deck. And we're gonna stop it here. This is potentially where you could be with your Queen of Pentacles energy, where you are assessing, you know, the things that you've already created and produced. You're looking at, your work where you may have room to grow, and just recognizes ways that you've already grown. And, pentacles, these are tangible, you know, resources. So this is money, income earned, um, credit, um, investments, finances, portfolios related things. This could also be intangibly, health, that self-esteem. We talked about willpower, determination and strength, the things that support you and help you in gaining and maintaining the other things that I listed first, the tangibles of what the pentacles represent. Okay. So this here is you in a place of being dissatisfied. And that's why you are assessing, what you have and coming up with a strategy or a plan to be able to use these things to go ahead and build you a blueprint if you don't already have one to execute to get to your 10 of pentacles because you're almost there. And with this, part of this, another message that I'm getting is this could also be, we got the lovers here, the king of swords, judgment. This could also be four of wands, the emperor, okay, the king of wands, king of pentacles. All right, so this could also be with those, the emperor, king of wands, king of pentacles showing up right there. Because this is all feminine energy primarily. That the other three pentacles is you getting a place of lightening your heart, healing, um, doing the forgiveness work so that you are a vibrational match for your divine masculine, because this is divine feminine energy for sure. You know, with the divine temple we had there, the Christ consciousness that's within you and it's exuded out. Okay, that's not something that's fake, perpetrated, copycatted, none of that. This is the truth of who you are. Okay, it's in your DNA, and you are um, clearing out all of the smoke, the confusion, the toxicity, the things that have been, you know, the enemies, the adversaries work to make you look like everything that you're not, type of stuff. Okay. This is you preparing yourself for that divine masculine who didn't come out the deck. But when I looked at them cards, his energy was there. Okay. His energy was there. So it could be a thing of he could have been waiting on you, or y'all could have been just separated so that you're able to do your individual work so that when you come together, your connection, your union is harmonious. I'm getting that here because we are leaving off with the 10 of Pentacles. So the both of you know a thing or two about, you know, a rebirthing process, about having to do some real serious shadow work and healing work and committing to that so that you're able to show up, be your best, do your best, and ultimately have the best. That's what the Ten of Pentacles is. Where you're able to have enough for you to take care of you, but also those that you love, that which you create, which you love. If you develop businesses or organizations, or, these are purpose driven. This is purpose driven energy. So, divine feminine, I'm talking to you specifically, you know, this is who you are. So that it would only make sense that your divine counterpart is a match, a divine match. That's your divine counterpart. Y'all not unequally yoked. Okay? You understand one another, you energize one another, you heal one another, you support one another. You just got each other's back, okay? From this type of madness. Because as long as the world is the world, this is going to exist. But how strong and how powerful you are to be able to manage it, and not allow it to keep you from your life purpose, is what we're talking about here, is what we're looking at. Okay. All right. And then we stopped here with the seven. That's another 10 of Pentacles. So seven plus three Pentacles, and then 10 of Pentacles. Look, double confirmation. As you forgive, you ain't got to forget, but, you know, remember who you are, and what God designed, because he creates in some cases. That's the wheel of fortune here. And I like to say, what God designed me to be and do and have, I'm here for it. So that's what we have for our weekend energy forecast. I didn't have any time set of what I wanted to be, but it's about an hour and a half, a little over an hour and a half. But we got a whole and complete message here. Um, a great deal of synchronicities. And I'm glad that, I had a cancellation this morning that allowed us to do this. Okay. All right. God is good. With that being said, um, check out the Empress Network at empressblack.com. Go ahead and subscribe so you'll have access to the Oracle Empress catalog within our Empress tools under our home tab, and our Empress archives and updates within the book and shop tab. Okay. Um, if you have any questions, you can hit the chat box and I will respond at my earliest availability to get you whatever links or whatever information or resources you're looking for. All right. Make sure you have a beautiful, wonderful, safe, productive, prosperous. Oh, I forgot to do our Angels of Abundance message. Let me do that real quick. Oh, I almost forgot. Probably because the 10 of Pentacles came out, double 10 of Pentacles came out with the Queen of Pentacles. All right, let's close out real quick. Come on now. That's all we needed. That is all we needed. And I'm going to read it from the book too. With raise or promotion. That's all we needed, honey. That's all we needed. Go ahead. God is your source. Everything you need is supplied by the infinite source of God, and your faith opens the doorway to receive. In God, there is no lack or limitation. Rather, there is plenty of abundance for all to share. And with raise or promotion on the bottom of the deck, congratulations. An increase in your abundance flow awaits you. This is a result of your positive focus and willingness to take action based on your divine guidance. Keep up the good work. Come on now. Let's get the God is your source from the book real quick, because I haven't read that one from the book in a little long time. I want to read both of them, matter of fact, since we're here. This card reminds you that your job is not your source, God is. When you worry about your work or whether people will buy your product or service, you are blocking your flow of abundance. It's time to focus upon your true source of everything that you need for your life and your purpose. God is omnipresent, so that means that God is within you and in every situation you are concerned about. Take whatever word you have and put it in words. For example, getting a promotion and raise. How does happen? And they came out. Well, it was on the bottom of the deck, but we love it. It's called divine alignment. Whew. Take whatever worry you have and put it in words. For example, getting a promotion and raise at work or selling my home. Then add, God, please help me with blank. Or God, thank you for helping me with blank. To the front of the worry. So, God, please help me with getting a promotion and raise at work. Or, God, thank you for helping me with selling my home. Feel the immediate positive energy shift as you move from worry to prayer. Your renewed faith opens the door to miraculous solutions. Keep in mind, though, that prayers are often answered in unexpected ways. So, for example, you may get a promotion at a different job. God's solutions are always for the highest and best good. I can never make this stuff up, nor do I want to. Raise or promotion. The angels of abundance have shown you this card as a sign that it may be time to ask for a raise or promotion, or perhaps you will soon receive one without having to ask. If you are self employed, this is a reminder that it's appropriate and healthy to give yourself a raise. You do not need to invest every bit of profit back into your business. If this ain't for me, you are allowed to reap the rewards of your hard work. Prioritizing yourself ensures that you continue to strive toward innovation, prevents burnout, and reminds you that you are a person who deserves happiness. If you are not self employed, asking for a raise or promotion can seem intimidating. Yes, it certainly isn't without risk, but being complacent and never speaking up also poses a risk, namely, that you will not receive that promotion because you did not ask for it. Get past the risk. So go beyond the fear and ask for the recognition and pay you deserve as a responsible and skilled employee. All right. Message, 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 message. With that being said, let me get on to work. Let me get on to work so I can prepare to give myself my raise or promotion. Inshallah, God willing, we'll be back to do our um week of April 27, the last weekly forecast for the month of April. All right, and go ahead and get us prepared for May. Till next time, peace and love.